Hey guys, thanks for coming back, checking out the video. Today we are building the Nyota House. I think is how it's pronounced. I'm probably getting that wrong, but basically what we're trying to do is I wanted kind of an exhibit. It was kind of a happy accident, but basically I wanted an exhibit that we could have three adjoining outer exhibits with animals in them and one central guest center with like viewing areas and it's partially submerged so they could see the animals swimming. My plan was to put Nile monitors here, Pygmy hippos, and a third which I haven't decided on yet. But that's kind of what we wanted to put in here. So this goes through structure. I broke this one up into parts. Kind of historically, I had done longer videos, but I think we're gonna try breaking them up into different episodes. So this first episode will go all the way through the kind of building itself, right up until the point where I drop an animal actually in the exhibit, and we start figuring out the inner part of the very first animal exhibit. So. This course, if you guys are working with this, anything that's submerged can be a little bit tricky, especially when you're dealing with paths and water and all that kind of stuff. But a great build overall. I think it turned out really well. And it just kind of morphed into its own kind of thing. At first, I knew I wanted this big submerged area, and I wanted it surrounded by water and three different animals. And then, when I started messing around putting a glass roof on it, I thought, like a kind of a stargazing type thing would be really cool. Sorry, there goes my dogs in the background. um, but and then so started doing glass roof and all that kind of stuff, and then of course later on that even more further to where I thought it'd be really cool if there was an exhibit with with like a retractable roof. So ended up building that in kind of way later, and I'm sure up to this point I've only got the Nile monitors in there by the time this video airs, but I'm sure as I get the other two species in there, I'm going to find more things that I'm going to want to change. At first I did want kind of to put a food booth in here. That didn't end up working out. I just didn't have the space, and I wanted it. It started looking. It was going to look just going to be too crowded, and I didn't want it to be mayhem in there. I wanted it to be kind of chill. And so got rid of the food idea, which let us put up some conservation things and some more, kind of artifacts and artwork type stuff. And so I'm really happy about that. And yeah, so I mean, all these little happy accidents. You guys know if you're building this stuff, you kind of figure stuff out as you go and deviate from your plan. So I did want this kind of cantilevered shelf thing sticking out of the front of it, and we just go through it. I wanted a couple of different animal exhibits in there, which we later populated, or I later populated with Goliath frog and Goliath beetle. Holy cow, the Goliath beetles! I think maybe only have 35 minutes worth of actual where it's not paused, and there's like 57 babies. So I got to deal with that or turn those down. Um, so here I'm going through just wanting like these kind of stadium seating so you can really look out and kind of get a bird's eye view of all three of the different species that'll be available to this exhibit later on. Um, and so I'm really happy with these stairs. This is probably the most I am noticing, a lot of the guys that I watched, Mike Sheets and John T. Sparrow and those types of guys. Paul's Lease are really another good one that I got some ideas from. And a lot of them will just say, practice, practice, practice. And I guess just like anything else, this is probably one of the more proficient builds that I've done so far. And I've noticed that it's definitely the one that I've customized the most and come off the grid the most. And so, and I think if I could do this building again, I'd probably do it much quicker. But anyway, flight time today, you're looking at probably, I think we ended up at about, 20 minutes maybe for this first half. Let me just scroll to the end here. Yeah, about 23 minutes. So it goes quick. I also sped up the speed build a little bit. So it's not going to take as long. I think I'm going to do that in the future. So we're going to go a little bit faster. And I'm looking at putting some other kind of things in there. For you guys later on, I toyed around with kind of letting you know the pieces that I used. One of the things that's, and I get it's time consuming and stuff, but I'm always kind of bummed out about is I see these beautiful things that these guys create, and I have no idea what pieces they're using. So I think I'm going to start putting in, probably in future videos, to let you guys know the pieces. I'll do kind of call outs or something like that, to let you know the pieces that I've used, because I think that information's always handy. Because some of the things, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, even in here, there's, I don't know, baskets that I turned upside down for tables, and that kind of thing. And of course, a lot of this game too, I think, is getting familiar with all the pieces that are available. And I think that's just another time thing, that you get used to seeing the pieces and things like that. Because I do scroll around a bit, trying to find things that that are there, that are called something different than I would have called them, or things like that. But so yeah, we go through these things. The Nile monitors are really cool. They, of course, the first I was making an exhibit too small, like this one, and then I blew them way out of proportion, and my lemur exhibit is like 4,000 meters. And then this one, I went back. I didn't want something as big. Of course, this one I ended up with a little bit of a space problem at the end. So I got to get rid of family editions like right away, otherwise they get pretty unhappy. But it turned out good. They'll deal with quite a bit of foliage, but it ended up certainly a little more barren than some of my other builds that I've done, especially like for the lemurs and stuff. I just had mountains of foliage and things like that. But all in all, it turned out great. It was a really fun build, lots of customization. So I hope you guys enjoy. And I have a lot of content to get edited and out. And I'll do part two of this video here in the next day or so, to where we go, because I do have Nile monitors totally done, and most, if not all, I mean, I guess this building is finished in its current state, but I'll probably, like I said, the more I'm around it, there's going to be little things that I'm going to want to tweak and change. So at first I did want kind of this really benign feeling building, with just lots of concrete and things like that. But the more that I played around with it, it started to feel really stale or sterile. And so I started using some different concrete pieces, and eventually add some wood, which turned out really good. Retractable roof, of course, a whole bunch of lighting inside. So a couple of quick tips that I did pick up during the build, or as I was watching stuff, is, and I think Paulsley did one where he changed the color of the lights. I didn't even know you could do this, which is a great, great thing. There's just so many other cool design things you can do. So what he used it for is, and if you guys haven't checked out his stuff, he does lots of tutorials, does lots of builds, knows his stuff. He's really, really good. Paulsley is his name, or his handle, or whatever he goes by. And so he changed the lights rather than from a bright white, toned them down to like a gray. And because some of those path lights and spotlights can get pretty overwhelmingly bright. And so he turned them to gray to kind of chill them out a little bit and reduce the lighting, and it just works out great. So I deploy some of that here, and it worked out really good. And then as I was, of course, in the color wheel, I'm looking at all these other cool colors that I can turn lights. And so on the exterior of this building, I use lots of greens because it really makes the foliage pop at night. So if you want just your surrounding foliage brighter, but not just like glaring white, you can change it to like a green, which usually matches pretty well. And then, like I said, I wanted this building to be like a stargazing building in the bottom half, the submerged half. And so I turned all the lights blue, and it turned out really great. It's nice and calm and cool in there. So that part I was happy about. But yeah, you guys enjoy the vid. Thanks so much. If you're liking the content, please subscribe, and certainly love comments and questions and all that kind of stuff. So take it easy. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.